Good morning, student. Today in theme 7, our next topic is the urban core and royal center. First of all, I am telling you about the urban core area. Archaeologists have studied roads within the city and those leading out from it. In the last video, I described to you that from the gateways, the roads also started from the gateways to the in the city. These have been identified by tracing paths through gateways and find of pavements. Moving along roads leading into the urban core, there is a little archaeological evidences of the houses of the ordinary people. We, our archaeologists, found the evidences that very less. We are saying that very less evidences we found to know about the houses of the ordinary people. Archaeologists have found the fine Chinese proclaim in some areas of the urban core, and they suggested that these areas may have been occupied by the rich people. Maybe on that time, the rich traders, the rich people, they were used these Chinese proclaim because we found the broken material of these Chinese proclaim. So maybe the traders or the rich persons on that time they were lived in these areas. Then tombs and the mosques located here have distinctive features. Maybe on that time the tombs and the mosques were also uh, built in this area, and the ordinary people of the Vijayanagar Empire lived in these ordinary houses. This is how in the 16th century Portuguese traveler Barbosa described the houses of the ordinary people. The 16th century, when this Portuguese traveler Barbosa reached in India, and he saw the houses of the ordinary people. So, with the account of this Barbosa traveler, we know about the houses and about the people of this Vijayanagar Empire. Field surveys indicate that wells, rainwater tanks, and temple tanks of the various small shrines scattered throughout the urban core might have been served as source of water for the ordinary dwellers. It means that on that time, the wells, the rainwater tanks, like the Kamlapuram, okay, and the temple tanks. In the temples, there were many tanks were also built in the temples, okay, and that were also used in the whole of this urban core area. And maybe on that time, the ordinary people they were also got the water from that resources. Royal Center. Now, Royal Center, we're talking about the Royal Center of the Vijayanagar Empire, our next topic. The Royal Center was located in the southwestern part of the settlement. Okay, in which direction? Southwestern part. This line is very important for 1 mark question. It included 60 temples. Again, this one is important. For 1 mark, 60 temples we found in the Royal Center area. The patronage of temple was important for rulers. It means that on that time the rulers they were gave the patronage or the alms or dan for these temples because they were trying to establish their authority through association within the in, divinities housed in the shrines, because they were also that the rulers they were also uh, they were believed that they were also like as a god in these temples. About 30 buildings have been identified as a palaces, mahal. Okay, the difference between temples and the secular buildings was that the temples were constructed entirely of the masonry way, whereas material used in the secular buildings were perishable. So this is the difference between the temples and the secular buildings. Secular buildings were built by the perishable items like as the wood. Okay, but the temples on that time they were built through the different type of the material like the stones. Now here you see I'm describe about the Mahanami Dibba based on the form of the buildings as well as their function. Some of the structures have been assigned some names. The King's Palace is the largest of the enclosure but was not used as a royal residence. It has two platforms. The first one is the audience hall and the second one was the Mahanami Dibba. Here you see this is the picture of the Mahanami Dibba. Now first of all I am describing you about the Mahanami Dibba. The audience hall is a high platform with slopes of the wooden pillars at close to and regular intervals. It had staircase going up to the second floor, which rested on these pillars. We are not found too much about this audience hall, only this one that the whole audience hall was made up from the wooden pillars, okay, that was perishable things, okay. And but these pillars were also they were built at the regular intervals, and there were the two stories maybe, and for going to the second floor they were used the staircases, okay. The Mahanami Dibba is a massive platform rising from a base of about 11,000 square feet to a height of the 40 feet. And there is evidence that it sported a wooden structure. Again, here in this picture you also see that the base was made from the stone, okay, but the upper part maybe on that time was built by the wood. The base of the platform is covered with relief carving. The base here you see that was here we see the carvings. This is the picture of the Mahanambi Dibba very closely. Here you see this is the carving. Here you see this is the base. Okay, on this base area the carving was also very beautiful carving was there. Now the significance of the Mahanammi festival in the Vijayanagar Empire. Mahanammi festival was celebrated with great enthusiasm and in Vijayanagar Empire. Literally, Mahanami means the great ninth day. Mahanami is a 10-day Hindu festival from September to October. In this time, we also celebrate the Mahanami, known variously as Dussehra in the northern India and Durga Puja in the Bengal and Navratri or Mahanami in the South India. Okay, it means that in the whole of the India we celebrate this Mahanami. Vijayanagara kings displayed their prestige, power, sovereignty, then it means domination on this occasion. It means that they were show the kings of the Vijayanagara, they were show their domination, their power, their prestige. And the ceremonies performed on the occasion included worship of the image. First of all, when the kings came on this place, they worshipped the images of the god goddesses and then worship of the state horses and the sacrifice of the buffaloes and other animals. In this way, the king started the ceremony. Dances, wrestling matches, and procession of the caparisoned horses, elephants, and chariots and soldiers, as well as the ritual presentations before the king and his guest by the chief nayaks and the subordinate kings mark the occasions. It means that on this occasion, the neighboring kings the kings from the nearby areas, nayaks, chief nayaks, all one, they were also came as a guest on this occasion. These ceremonies were imbued, tinged deeply with deep symbolic meaning. On the last day of the festival, then the king inspected his army and the armies of the Nayaks in a great ceremony in an open field. On this occasion, the Nayaks brought rich gifts for the king as well as the stipulated tribute. It means that on the last day, these festivals, kings inspected the whole army, like and the armies of the Nayaks, okay, and the Amar Nayaks. So this was a great ceremony in an open field area. And on this occasion, the Nayaks, Amar Nayaks, and the other kings from the neighboring area, they were also brought the rich gifts to the for the king. Okay, and they were also showing their tribute. Now the question also arises: was the Mahanami Dibba that stand today the center of this elaborate ritual? Scholars have pointed out that space surrounding the structure does not seem to have been adequate for elaborate procession for of this armed men, women, and large number of the animals. And like some of the other structures in the royal centers, it remained an enigma. Enigma means paheli, and it means that the our historians they had the different views about the ceremonies which were performed on that time on this Mahanami Dibba. Okay, thank you, student.